welcome. Listen to me. Welcome back to Conversations with Ed. Been gone for a while, but here I am back, and we're going to have a whole lot of good things to talk about for the next 6 weeks. Every week, Wednesday, 6 to 7 p.m. So get on the phone. You know what you have to do when I'm on. You have to call all your friends and tell them. You also have to make sure you have a pen and a pad, because when you watch Conversations with Ed, you know you have to write things down. And that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to have a conversation about wealth, something we all are interested in, something that we all have the opportunity to do, and something that most of us have no idea that exists. And I have one of my good friends on here who's a specialist, actually a very, very acclaimed financial advisor, and I'm building him up, but he's definitely worth every word that I'm saying. And his name is Avon White.
Good to see you.
Oh, great to see you too, man. Listen, man. And what we're going to do, I'm going to put the phone number up. Actually, we can't put it up because of some technical issues here at the studio, but I can tell you what it is. It's 915-5202. That's 804-915-5202, and I'll give the number as we go through the show. All right? I do have to mention my veterans and guys. For the next 6 weeks when I open up, I'll be talking to you about all of the things that are available to you now. There's so many opportunities for veterans, and take my advice, take advantage of them right now. If you don't have anything going on, if you need some help, we're helping vets get there 100%. Give me a call if you want. Okay, my phone number is 804-714-7983. All right? And that's what we do. It's not like you're putting me out. I've been doing it for the last 30 years. And I got my 100%. So you know, and I've helped quite a few people. So what we're going to do, as I said, I'll mention the 915-5202 number as we go along. Feel free to call up if you have questions, because I know some of the things that Avon's going to talk about, it's going to strike you, and you say, oh boy, don't hesitate to call, okay? And with that being said, Mr. Avon, how you want to start out?
Ed, I don't know. I thought when you told me that you wanted to discuss wealth, I thought we might start with trying to define what is wealth.
There you go. Okay.
You know, the dictionary, of course, is the first place we all learn to go. Mm-hmm. And it said wealth generally is an abundance. It's talking about an abundance of valuable materials or possessions and resources. Wealth indicates abundant supply. All of that sounds good to most of us when we say create wealth or I am wealthy. Mm-hmm. And here in America, we always are looking for the land of opportunity, which sometimes can be real challenging to navigate, but we do have that opportunity here in our economy to create wealth.
We used to be the wealth.
We used to be the wealth. We were part of that calculation at a time. And so you mentioned that, and we tried to define it, and then we tried looking at things like you said. What are some of the things the components of wealth? First thing people think about is cash money. I remember when people used to love to walk around, some with a roll or a knot, and
and show it off too.
And show it off and so forth. But certainly cash has its place. But now when you start talking about wealth, you're really talking about more than just your cash.
Yeah, and a whole lot more.
And a whole lot more. Mm-hmm. Our community used to have a lot of land. Now that goes into making wealth. Wealth generally is transferred generationally.
Yeah.
It's not consumed. See, when you can consume it, it's not wealth.
No, it's just spending money.
It's just spending money. Yeah. So land and property was a big part of what our wealth was. Even though you might not have had a lot of cash, if you had land, you had big time bargaining chips. And we've seen the erosion of our land ownership.
I remember Malcolm X talking about it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he used to nail it. What was so? Land.
Land.
What do you want? Land. Because you're establishing something.
You're establishing something, and even though there are other components of wealth or things that go into wealth. People think stocks, bonds, and things of that nature. Still, land is something that there is no more of.
Wow. You're absolutely right.
That sort of says that right
there.
there.
That's, and I never thought of it that way.
And so I started thinking of how to make some general thoughts and observations and make them right quickly. And this being football season, where everybody wants to talk about their team can beat your team and so forth, I couldn't help but think of some football analogies. I mean, on the football field, you've got wide receivers and cornerbacks and safeties and quarterbacks and tight ends and linemen and etc. and linebackers and all of these positions and people playing these skilled positions. And guess what? Each one has a job to do.
Yeah, it's a team.
And you don't really expect the center to do the job of the quarterback.
Everybody has a job.
Everybody has a job. And we love seeing the quarterback go back and move around and scurry.
Pretty with his
But still, if the other people aren't doing their jobs well,
he gets beat up.
Then he's not going to do his job well. Yeah. And the way I thought I would correlate that is when we talk about things like checking accounts, savings accounts, stocks, bonds, 401ks, IRAs, gold, silver, land. There's things out there called ETF, exchange traded funds, cryptocurrencies, that new digital currency that's out, mutual funds, insurance. These are all components
of wealth,
but they do different types of jobs. And just like on the football field, you wouldn't expect the wide receiver to actually do what the lineman does. Although every once in a while the wide receiver has to block somebody, then you really don't expect your checking account to perform like your 401k.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and I would advise everyone that when you start looking at how can I build wealth, I don't have anything, that you educate yourself. And now with the advent of internet, you can be educated sitting right at home with your cell phone.
Say you were going into speak to a young couple, and they were just getting started out. And I tell you, I started my sales with New York Life.
Right, you did tell me that.
Well, the first thing I used to ask them is, how much money would you be willing to put aside for something that you really, really want?
Good question.
Okay, and they would think about it, and then they'd say, maybe $25 a week. I said, for something you really want? I mean, just think about what you did with $25 last week.
Well, that's true too.
Okay.
And that is a great question to get people thinking. You ask them thought questions to be serious and sincere about what they could feel they could afford to do. And since we're on that phrase, when I think of affordability in discussions like that, I also ask them, how much debt are you in? Because debt is a drag. I didn't say that you shouldn't be in any debt, but many of us are in bondage to debt. And if you're in bondage to debt, that means you're not free.
That's the truth.
Because what you're actually doing is you're stuck in a trap. You're trying to use your future dollars to pay for your past desires.
Very well put.
And I'm not holier than thou in that area. We all like to get some things, and you might have to charge this and that. But we have got to divorce ourselves away from that debt syndrome, that whipping out the credit card or whatever. And because you're whipping out a credit card at anywhere from 9%, if you're good, or 3%, all the way up to 25, 28, 29%. And then I would ask, well, what are you earning on your money that you're able to save in the coffee can?
But see, what you're saying, most people have no concept of at all. Most people, I'm not saying all people, most people. But now, as these younger folks are coming
the millennials are on it.
They're coming out there, they're starting to see it. And stock has become something that people look at to create instant wealth, because there's one that we're getting ready to do with our folks. I forgot to tell you, we're bringing Tropical Beat back. Ta-da!
Oh, wow.
Okay, but the reason is this company out in California sells marijuana.
Yeah,
They want to be able
cannabis.
They want to be able to advertise on a show that's very popular. And what better show than reggae will be to advertise? So the guy asked, "Would you have a problem if we were to have ads?" And I said, not as long as it's in a state that it's legal.
Well, yeah, you have to watch that, but certainly the cannabis.
Yeah, the stock is going crazy
in those areas and places where that has become legalized to either to market and to also participate as an investor. People have seen some windfalls in that regard.
1,000% increase.
Well, there's quite a bit going on there,
So,
but even with that as a tool, whatever the tool might be. What we're speaking of is mindset more than product. I think we get a little too hung up on product or on, like for instance, whether we own gold or whether we own stocks or whether we own ETF. Those are just tools. But it's the mindset. You have to have a winning mindset. I am not going to be in bondage forever. I'm not going to be in debt.
Yeah,
we have got to get out of debt.
Let me just say something here. Folks, once again, 804-915-5202. This is your opportunity to get some good advice free. It's a phone call,
Yes.
and Avon is willing to share his knowledge with you.
The little that I have.
For this, no, the little
Somebody shared with me.
Well, that's the secret too. Okay, you gotta have some. You have to have an education in dealing with finance. Okay, you don't have to be a financial expert.
No, you do
You
not.
have to have enough sense to contact a financial expert.
Like I said, educate yourself.
Yeah.
And certainly there are many great professional men and women who will spend time, like you did with some of your clients, and helping people. But even before they call in that type of education, they can educate themselves,
There's so
like I
much
said,
going
on the internet and find out. And then I maintain that in many families, generationally speaking, if you can find the oldest person, I used to like to say grandma, because it just appeared that during that time, let's say the 40s and 50s, and we know opportunities were perhaps less than they are now for many of our people to do certain things economically, yet they thrived. There are things, there are areas in Richmond we used to call Black Wall Street down at 2nd and 3rd and so forth in that area. Then there were areas in Oklahoma. There was Harlem Renaissance. How did they thrive when there was so much against them? Jim Crow was a way of life. It wasn't an exception.
That togetherness.
It was a concept, a mental concept of togetherness, of I am going to go somewhere. I am going to be somebody. And I know it wasn't everybody, because you always got those few that want to skirt the system. But yet and still. But what I want people to understand is, from the words of a great book that was out a little while ago, Who Moved the Cheese?
Oh,
You ever heard that book?
No.
It was it's a small book, and it was put on audio cassette and so forth. Who Moved the Cheese, real quickly, depicts about two mice called Him and Haw, who used to every day go to a certain space in this maze, and they would get their cheese, and they'd be happy, and life went on and on. Well, as time went on, they went to get the cheese one day, and it wasn't there.
Okay.
Now, Him and Haw, check those names?
Yeah.
But one of them wanted to just sit there and wait for the cheese to come back.
Yeah.
And after a while, the other mouse said, well, I'm going off and find some new cheese. And I'm not sitting starved.
Yeah.
So you know how that story ends, don't you?
No.
We had one mouse went on to find him some new cheese, and that other one, he fell on some serious times. What I'm saying is, and that book depicts is, the cheese has moved people. The things that we used to do that were good, we should just do the attitude and keep that. But you can't do those certain things anymore. You can't just hide a few dollars in the coffee can under the bed, and
or in the mattress.
And for God's sake, don't cheat on your taxes. Please don't. They will come and get you.
Here we go. Let's see. Hello, caller. Thanks for calling in.
Hello there. I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
I've got a son that has recently graduated from college, and now he's in the process of trying to pay back these student loans, and he has a great abundance of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is his best option? I mean, he is working through Sallie Mae and high interest rates, like 9%.
Wow.
And he's owing about like $50,000 total. What is the best way for him to try to chunk that down, to consolidate that whole loan? Or because it's like 4 different loans.
Oh, I see. Well, certainly that's an indication of the cheese being moved these days. That is the fact that we do need to be educated, and sometimes it requires getting loans to go to these schools to have the opportunity to work in a higher plane. And then he comes out and he's got the 50,000 and some 60,000. That's some real serious debt. At 9%, even at 3 or 4%, it's still serious debt. Certainly, I would recommend, like you just pointed out, to explore, could he? Now, you have to really watch. There are some sources that offer themselves as advisors to consolidating loans, and they don't really do that great a job. So you want to watch that. But there are some employers and situations that are beginning to offer, if you work for me, I will do certain things towards your college loans. Some states had it that if you worked in the state, certain things could be forgiven or paid towards. So all of that goes into those resources of how do I pay this debt down.
And can I ask what your son's career is now? What is he doing now?
Yes, he is actually a personal trainer. He has his own personal training business, and he's doing pretty good with that, but it is nowhere near what he needs to be doing as far as the paying his loan back.
Well, I'm going to make a suggestion, okay? And just something to think about. He's a college grad. He's in good physical shape. He should go and talk to the military. Because right now, the United States Army and the United States Air Force and the Navy are the best employers going right now. And being that he already has his college degree, he can go in with a commission officer, and they'll help with his bills, his college bills, and etc. And they'll start him off with a really decent salary, cover all of his medical, everything. And it's something I think he might want to look into, because they have a thing they call a sign-up bonus also. So, all right. But now to get back to what he should do right now, today, I would suggest, as Avon was saying, that he consolidate the loan. But talk to the military first, because... All right?
Thank y'all.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for calling in, and that's a real point.
I'll be on for the next 6 weeks, so feel free to call as often as you like.
All right, thanks a lot.
I appreciate you. Okay.
I had an opportunity to speaking with some clients this week, and they let me know that they know of someone. Are you ready for this? That's over 65 years old and still has $50,000, $60,000 of college debt. Now, I don't know what happened in that case. I didn't want to chase that rabbit down that rabbit hole. But I mean, you know,
what have you been doing?
I don't know. But see, when you owe that kind of money, $50,000 and $60,000, as she pointed out, and you've got interest, like she said, about 9%, that's a pretty good clip.
And it's a long time payoff.
For instance, if you had $50,000 to invest in something moderate, not necessarily a get rich quick scheme, whether, the likelihood of earning 9% over a protracted period of time, 10 years, it's challenging to earn 9. I mean, I didn't say it isn't done. And some more. But you're not going to just do it. So here you are with a 9% drag plus on your income. And you could look at, as we said, other sources that the government has to offer. Military, that was a great idea.
And
as well as consolidation or...
There are loans, if you're still listening, ma'am, there's a lot of loans now for gentlemen of color who have come out and choose a profession dealing with education. You get a lot of help on your college bill, okay? I forgot to say that.
I did hear something about that.
Oh, yeah, it works. Let me just let folks know.
Again,
this is the first time that we're doing the TV, which is just the Richmond area, and broadcasting on Facebook. And I'm sure that we're going to be able to do this for the next 6 weeks that I'm on. So if you have friends that live out of state, you tell them go on Facebook, go to Ed Coleman's page, and just watch his show, Conversation with Ed. Okay,
digital world.
That's it, and it helps people because I have a bunch of relatives.
I know.
All right, and they'll start. Someone will say, "Well, I saw your show on the internet."
Okay.
And it was good. And I said, well, did anybody else see it? No, I didn't know that anybody else can see it. Everybody can see it now.
Everybody can see your show.
Now, Yvonne, once again, what if you're going into, say, because we're touting black business now. And one of the worst things that I see with black business is black business doesn't do business. Right, and you hear that all the time.
Well,
no, I don't want to hire him because he's black and he's not going to do the job right, and et cetera, et cetera.
Certainly, those types of comments have been made and are being made. I'd like to think they're dying down somewhat.
Yeah.
As the professionals, as the business people, like the caller just mentioned, her son has a personal training business. As these individuals show themselves to be quote unquote professionals, the ability, the skill, the customer service, and will deliver, that tends to, I think it's dying down. I think we have to change our mindset. I didn't say it's gone away. I did not. But I did think that it is being minimized, and that some of the things, remember I said the cheese was moved?
Yeah.
Some of the cheese had to go.
Yeah.
Stale cheese. Got to go.
You're right.
Government cheese, remember that?
And then, how about that lineup? People would line up for that cheese, boy.
But certainly we need, as we pointed out earlier, when there were the areas of our community we used to call Black Wall Street, whether it was downtown or wherever.
Well, we had Maggie Walker right here.
Absolutely. And when you start reading our history, you see there were so many businesses and business owners. Why? Because we had to. We are necessity is the mother of invention.
There you go.
And so, since we had to do things such as repair our own cars, become plumbers, become masons, working with your hands. I mean, painters. Those skills and talents are still needed.
Yeah, but
now you do have to be trained. You want to get licensed. You want to present yourself professionally,
and you have to want to work.
Well,
okay, and that's another problem that we have right now. I know I had, when I was the regional director for North America Bank Card, I had telemarketers, right? I had to interview at least 12 to get one good one. And that good one would last maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So there's a constant turnover and a constant turnover, a constant turnover. But, you have to work around it. That's what you do.
Well, the interview process to getting a job may be a little bit, the numbers may be higher now because of competition. Now, that is to be hired, to become hired by someone, you may be competing not only with Tom, Dick, and Harry, but with other peoples of ethnicities that you can't pronounce the names. Mm-hmm. In other words, you have to bring your best self.
Yeah, just like we always said, you got to be 10 times better.
Put yourself in the position of the person hiring and paying the money. Who do you want to hire? Mm-hmm. You just said it. Mm-hmm. You want to hire someone, whatever you're paying them. I don't care if it's $30 an hour. You want to feel like
you're
getting more. Mm-hmm.
Hello, caller.
Hi, Ed and Avon. This is Charlene, as you know.
We couldn't figure that out.
I'm very impressed with the conversation today, and I'm watching Facebook, and a lot of people are looking at it in Atlanta and all over, but they don't know the number to call in.
Okay.
So you need to set a number over and over again so people can call in.
Oh, thank you.
All right?
I'm going to do it again
really
right now.
I'm enjoying the conversation.
Well, thank you.
And one question for Avon. Avon, what's a good major for they used to major in now in college?
What's a good major?
Major for going to school,
Oh, wow.
To come out and make some money, at least make some money.
Well, I don't know, really.
Become a financial advisor.
Well, you can't get around technology either.
Yeah.
And then I understand there is a whole growth industry over not involving 4-year traditional college degrees.
Right. Specializing
in certain technical skills, as we continue along, you mentioned we were on Facebook. There's technology. That's not going away. It's going to
gonna get
continue.
better.
For instance, in our area, didn't Amazon just announce they're going to build $1 billion worth of construction in Eastern Henrico?
That's a wonderful
But
deal.
did you catch the other part? When it is completed, it's going to hire maybe just over 100 people.
Because everything else is...
It's going to be so specialized. And everyone does not. So Miss Charlene, yes, I would tell anyone going to school or anywhere, first, see if you like what it is you're going to do.
Right.
Do you love it? Can you
You
work?
have to love it.
Would you work hard even if you didn't get, i.e., rich and wealthy? And that way you can pour yourself into it. As the earlier caller said, her son was in personal training. Obviously, you know something about that, Ed.
A little bit about it.
You know a little bit about that,
Yes, I
Mr.
did.
Black Belt and so forth. But he obviously loves doing it.
I do.
You know, and so if you love doing it, you can pour yourself more into it. And it's challenging sometimes. You might not like every aspect of it, but colleges and universities are reaching out now into the areas of non-traditional BA, BS degree and training, and so are your community colleges.
Well, that's good, and I agree. I just gave that advice to somebody today. But just
Great.
to make sure you have the number, it's 804-915
5202.
5202.
5202.
Okay, 804-915-5202. Bye, guys.
I appreciate you, okay?
You know, Ed, I
Bye-bye.
read something, and I thought I would make mention of it because I had not ever done it myself, but it was quite interesting as I was reading this other book. And it said we need to give ourselves a financial freedom date. That is, you need to give yourself, as they say, a red line in the sand or a stick down there, something that says, as of this date. Now, financial freedom doesn't mean that you don't owe any kind of payment to anybody. It just means it doesn't have a hold. That's it. It doesn't have a hold on you.
Right.
And it's more than just, I can afford this house. Okay. And I have a few dollars left. See, you're not thinking wealthy. That's not how Oprah Winfrey would think.
Oh, no.
That's not how Mr. Johnson that built the Johnson magazine fortune would think.
Don't get me started on that one.
Okay. But I'm just saying, people who, they might not have started out thinking, I'm going to be a billionaire like Oprah. She didn't, but they started out saying, I'm going to be the best me.
Best they can.
And I'm not going to allow setbacks to be my failure just because I failed today. And I love, again, looking at sports from time to time, and my son can quote a lot of stats. I can't quote many, but I like baseball. A 300 hitter. When I found out a 300 hitter is big time.
Yes,
He gets paid the big bucks.
Yes, he does.
But I found out what that meant. I mean, for 10 times at bats, he only hit 3 times. He missed 7. Let that sink in a while. He missed 7. If he can connect 3 out of 10 consistently, he's a big guy.
Yes.
And don't let him get to 4.
Oh,
You see what I mean? But
Yeah.
see, so if you are afraid of failure, if you're afraid of not going into debt to go to college, now I'm not telling anyone not to go to school.
No, you do have to
and certainly you're going to need loans or grants. As we do college fund planning with people, with young people, I said, well, try to make a deal with your child as time goes on. Tell them, look, mom and dad are going to pay for 2 years. And during those 2 years, we're going to apply for every scholarship, grant, loan, work, study, and whatever else is out there. People went to college, Ed, when you and I were 9 and 10 years old.
Yes, they did.
How did they do it?
It wasn't easy.
It wasn't. And this is my point. It was all relative.
And they all
Now,
became somebody.
somebody. They
Right.
did something. So we just have to tell ourselves again, yes, we can, to coin a phrase from days gone by with Obama's campaign. Playland is over. I heard Dr. John Kennedy give a beautiful analogy about playland, about how many of us have been by those familiar fast food restaurants that have a playland there for the kids,
right?
with jungle gyms, and you better not be crawling around in there. It's for the kids.
Oh, yeah.
and so forth. And you can play, and they can, and then when it's time to leave, some of the kids don't want to leave playland. You got to get out of playland. So in many ways,
Empire State.
We have to understand the cheese has moved. Playland is over. Roll up your sleeves and work. And when it comes to wealth, it's not necessary for me, it's for the generations to come.
I see.
Are you willing to sacrifice that the generations to come can be better? That's when you get into a discussion of, maybe I don't have much, but I do have 5 acres of land I can leave you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
etc.
right. That's it. I had 29 acres.
Yeah, 29 acres. Did you have a mule? Oh, you didn't have that.
My
Okay.
grandpa had the mule. He had
I talked to a
black
guy.
mule and a white horse.
Let me tell you, a gentleman told me the other week, and it was funny, but it was true. He said, man, we were so poor, we had to borrow a mule. And that one got by me. But when you talk about wealth, the greatest wealth we have, our best resource is us. Yes, diamonds are great, gold, jewelry, all of those types of things we spoke of earlier. Yes, you should have insurance and all of that. Yes, but the greatest wealth is you. You make it turn. You. Or you can be the biggest fool. Somebody can leave you $100,000 and then you be broke by next month. Yeah. So we are our greatest wealth, our greatest resource is our families, our children and children's children. We have to breathe that into their head.
But you know something along those lines that we're starting to see more of again is families. You're starting to see these young, like at church, the young people that are coming in there as families,
Yes.
and that's what attracts
that's
me,
wealth.
is being able to see little babies.
That's wealth. When you can look
in
and see 2 and 3, 4, children coming in with their parents, that is wealth, and that's what our community had. I didn't say it was Ozzie and Harriet and everything was wonderful, kumbaya. No, there are challenges to work within the confines of family, but family or our community is our best source of wealth. And I hope that in the future you have a show on degentrification, because that tears up the community and the families.
I'd like to
and
do
you see, that destroys that wealth.
Yeah, and this term regentrification.
Yeah, well.
I mean, what it does, it means we're taking your neighborhood.
We're taking the neighborhood, and you're not even getting top dollar for
No,
it.
and then it's turning into they're making top dollar on the place
For you to come back to.
Right.
So,
and you can't afford it, so where you going now?
yeah, then you got to go somewhere else.
Uh-huh.
But so we're going to endeavor to tell all our friends about, do not be held down in debt. How many pair of tennis shoes do you really need?
Yeah.
And I'm not picking on tennis shoes, but I have seen some people with their children, and the children are a year old, just barely walking, and they got on
Jordans. And you
I'm
know,
like,
Jordan ought to be shot.
Well, I like to say Ed said
I said it, and I mean it.
Jordan was my basketball man. Don't be talking about it.
Yeah, you probably made some money gambling on him, but by the same token, I mean, how are you gonna let somebody take your name? You're gonna make money, yeah, but on $200 sneakers that cost maybe $3 or $4 to make.
Welcome to America. That's capitalism.
It is. It's major capitalism, and
This major capitalism. But do you sound like you're talking about the blood diamonds? That's another show. But anyway,
listen to you.
we have to have a mindset change
Okay.
about my resources and my wealth, and about sowing into my children. If you don't have children, sowing into my community.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm self-employed or if I'm working for the factory or wherever, I am still somebody. I'm going somewhere, and I can have wealth. Wealth is when I have more than enough, not when I have $10 more.
And this is a new wave for us
Yes.
as a people, because, as you said earlier, down up through the years, the different Maggie Walker, the other one in Illinois.
Historical figures.
Yeah.
I like to think of those type of people and read those biographies of people that were famous. Even our esteemed former governor, L.D. Wilder, to know that, yes, he became the first African-American governor, post-slave days and all that kind of good stuff. And he talked about how he had to work waiting tables in restaurants that he couldn't eat in.
Isn't that something?
But how did they make it? They weren't all born with silver spoons in their mouth.
None of them.
So we need to continue to talk about the fact that you can rise above your circumstances, even if you don't go into the halls of ivory colleges and so forth. You can manage your resources.
You need to have an advisor, though. I'm just saying.
Yes, you need coaches, like we mentioned about the football team. Sometimes when the game is lost, you want to blame the coach, so that's why we advisors run.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
So I'm just saying it. And once again, the call-in number 804-915-5202. Now's your chance. Get some information, some advice from somebody that knows. And I know a little bit about things myself.
Well, I had a question for you.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Because I know you have traveled. Mm-hmm. You've been blessed to travel in and out of the continent.
Oh, yeah.
And you've seen situations. What have you seen from the standpoint of wealth in other Caribbean countries and so forth?
It's not so much, in Caribbean countries, it's not so much, again, of the financial wealth.
Right.
Okay, it's the wealth of continuity.
Okay.
All right, your mom and dad had a beachfront house, right? So where are you going to build your house? If you're able to, you're going to build it right there, and you're going to extend the property. My friend Jim, who I just spoke to a minute ago, we had the opportunity to buy a piece of land on one of the most beautiful beaches you want to see in the Bahamas for $1 million. 17 acres of land.
Wow.
And we thought about it, and we didn't do it because, as we said, how could we control it from here while it was going on there? And I mean, now that's not an issue. It's easy to do now. See,
I don't know.
Yeah, because you got, like you said, we have all the computers
with the internet
and all that kind of stuff.
and so forth.
So
that helps, but you still need to be near your investment. You got to be someone on the ground.
Right on the ground there. So, and that opportunity is gone, but now we know about it. So as we travel again, if you go to South Africa.
That's what I want you to do.
All right. South Africa, the change that you're seeing in Africa in general, but South Africa in particular.
Okay.
Before, they would send the wealthy persons would send their children to England or to different countries for their education, and then they would stay.
Oh.
Now they're going home.
Oh, so they get their training, education,
and
connection, and come home.
One of the fellows told me on the last time we were in South Africa, he said, we used to send everything out raw, and then we buy it back, finished. Now we're finishing it.
Oh, wow.
And we're sending it out, and now they have to pay.
Yes.
Okay, so South Africa is actually becoming one of the richest countries that you're gonna find because of trade. I mean, the
mindset.
The whole attitude is about going forward as a people. You think that there would be so much anger and from apartheid and all of that? No, it's all.
You don't have time for that.
No, and they know it.
It's mind change time.
Well, we've been over, as you know, many times.
Right.
Out of all of Africa, I found that I had a real bond with the Zulus.
Really?
Oh yeah. And in fact, we became personal friends with the king of the Zulu nation.
Okay.
All right. 14 million subjects. My man can still do this. He still got it.
Oh, he's the king.
Yeah, he's the king. But see, now there's another thing. People, we don't understand African culture. All right, the king of the Zulu nation can have as many wives as he wants to have.
That's their nation.
That's their nation. And the children are all recognized. Now, the king of the Zulus, I believe, I might be off, I think he has 6 wives.
Oh, my goodness.
But each wife has their own palace, and et cetera, right? But he makes all of his children live in the village so that they know what the people they're ruling have to deal with and whatnot. And he's got some of the sharpest youngsters. They're not babies, but that you'll find. And we went to the graduation for one of his daughters that was getting her MBA, and it was just phenomenal. I mean, to see this, and you've been so conditioned over the years to think of Africa as
backwards
and all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all Ghana.
Right, and now I know that's a very progressive nation.
And they're doing so many things. And then you see all of the, we can be international. Now, they're looking for partners, okay? And you can be a partner and still be in control, even though, like we said before, because of the different things that they're doing. When we have time, we'll sit down and talk about some of the advantages and some of the things, opportunities that are available over there.
Okay, that's great. I had to ask because I know you traveled and you could see things from the ground up and so forth. And for my segment today, and I mentioned and threw out several types of, I wouldn't call them products, but resources, stocks, bonds, etc. Mm-hmm. I would tell our listening audience, don't overlook the I word, insurance.
Yeah.
For a while, many people had the wrong thought. Oh, you don't think that when I die. Well, let me tell you something. Whether you have it or not, you're going to die.
And I used to tell them, people call it death insurance. It's not death insurance, it's life insurance.
Well, it's still, for most Americans, it's still the only completely tax-free resource there is.
Guaranteed completion of your plan. You want to have $1 million at a certain age, you set the plan up now and follow it, and it'll go.
But someone somewhere years ago perhaps put the wrong information out in the community that, this insurance could be for everybody else. Well, yeah, you have to think bigger than you.
Yeah. I mean, I had people, after I did my whole pitch and whatnot, I said, so can we get started on this plan? No. What do you mean, no? You just sat there and listened to the whole thing and you agreed. I said, yeah, I agreed, but why do I care what happens to them when I'm dead?
Well, that is a mindset. Again, like I said, that's a mindset. But when we stop and think, when we look into the eyes of our children when they're babies or our grandchildren, and we realize that someone has got to try their best to make sure they do have an opportunity if they choose to go to college or into business for themselves or even in the military, that they can have something behind them, something to stand on. And then you can talk to the professionals, not the professionals that are just purveying products, but you can talk to certain attorneys about, I've got this and that, how do I make sure it stays? So you get an attorney that can do certain things for you through wills and trusts.
And realize that you don't know, and you need to have an advisor.
And a lot of what we know ain't so. We know some stuff, but we know a lot of stuff that just ain't true. And there's what they call it now, fake news. There's so much misinformation. I think you're being asked to give your number back out.
Yeah, well, we can do that. 915-5202, 804-915-5202. Okay? I see Kelly is watching. Hi, Kelly. That's my daughter.
Oh, my goodness.
In New York, she's watching. This is good. And we're going to be doing it this way, and as we do it, it'll get better and better going along. This is the first time that we're doing it. But thanks for watching, Kelly. If you can, let Eddie know, too, all right? All right. So, Avon, I enjoyed this conversation.
Well, thank you. I always enjoy talking with you. I like to hear your experiences and vicariously live through what you have been through.
Well,
and we don't mind spreading the word to people to become financially independent. There's a big discussion about, and it should be, about our freedoms and about what may be impinged upon now as we go forward here in this 21st century. But the biggest freedom we can control first is how we think.
Yeah.
I love the book. I love that book, Think and Grow Rich. We need to get back to it. Whether you read the book online or
should be in school.
The book, it should be in school.
It should be in school.
Right. And as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That's some of the greatest writings ever is found right in the Holy Script. So change the way we think about ourselves, about our opportunities, about these resources and how we can use them, and stop being the consumers.
Well, also we need to be mentors ourselves.
Right.
The people that do know should be
Take somebody
teaching, you know,
away
right,
and
do
teach
it.
them.
And I have had mentors. Here we go. Hello, caller.
Hey, how you doing, gentlemen? This is Gerard.
Hey, Gerard.
Hey,
all
good
right.
afternoon,
Okay.
good evening.
Yeah, doing great. You and Brother Avon there got a nice show going on tonight.
Appreciate it.
And the question was asked a little while back about what is a good major for college. Now, we heard about this years ago, but robotics.
See,
yes.
technology, robotics.
Yes.
is here.
Yes,
It's
it's
here.
here. That's it.
Now, and like Avon said, with the new distribution center coming up, they're having more machines than there are going to be people.
There it is.
Why?
Robotics.
Because of
Robotics.
Right.
So I'd just like to lay that on those
That's
young,
great.
People out there that are looking for an education and what they want to do in college. Check out robotics.
Outstanding. That's a
excellent
good one.
advice. Glad to hear you doing better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing a little better here now, so I finally got a chance to lay back and watch you guys, and everything seems to be going real well.
That's real nice. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
And got 5 more weeks, okay?
All right.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. Right.
That was great, but that is a tremendous suggestion because again, technology, robotics, and a lot of young people, men and girls, boys and girls, like computer games, etc. Well, that shows you got a great fascination with this.
Let me tell you
Take it to
something.
the next level.
If they go to school now and take computer science or whatever, they come out, they do 4 years in the military, they go to the Department of
You're recruiting
Defense.
hard today, aren't you?
Well,
no, that is a great answer.
It's
That's a
they
great
go-
resource.
Department of Defense with that computer background and security clearance, they
Right.
start you with 150,000.
Oh my goodness, maybe we go back to school.
They start you with 150,000. And I was talking to one guy out in the parking lot. He had a Maserati, beautiful car. I said, "So you're one of those 150 guys?" He smiled. He said, "No, I'm a 250 guy."
Oh my goodness, yeah. He's a 250.
And
What,
they do
see?
it- Homeland Security, Department of Defense, they're doing it right now. It's not something that's coming. They're doing it right now. And what it is, again, have a degree in.
Yeah, go get training. Cyber technology, for instance, cyber security, and we hear of these breaches and so forth that are going. But don't you think that the governments and the industries are constantly trying to hire people that can help them develop better security over our technology, over our electricity grid? So yeah, you can do that. And sometimes you have to get the 4-year degree, and sometimes it is at technical schools. And I like your suggestion of using the military, and you won't have. I know some people, I don't want to go fight the war. Well, you're fighting one in the street, so
But you won't have
might as well go and fight it.
The traditional warfare as we know it is gone.
Well, that's true. And
So, I mean, it's going to be, as you said, robotics. It's going to be computers, and it's going to be elite troops. You're not going to have the regular
grunts,
right that are just out there to do like special forces, Green Berets.
Somebody got to drive the trucks.
The Navy
But
SEALs,
really,
all the talking about Navy SEAL teams and stuff.
To the young people, boys and girls, men and women as they're growing up, don't discount the military.
No,
what you're saying?
not at all. Not now. Before, yeah, but
Well-
now it's a whole different thing.
Well, there are going to be problems and challenges even in the streets, or out, not in military. There are people that's not going to like you simply because of what you look like.
That's right.
And that's because you look too tall, you're too short, you're too fat. There'll be people that make those judgments whether you're in the military or you're in the street. There's shooting going on around the world. There's shooting going on in Richmond, God forbid.
Crazy, yeah.
But you don't let that stop you. You want to get to the goal line. Back to the football analogy. You want to cross that goal.
Goal line. Well, we need to. When I volunteered for the sheriff's department to help with education, I knew that it would be successful because these young men were at the bottom. And they knew they had to do something to move up. The ones that would listen, okay? I'm not saying they all listened, all right? But as a result of me being there for 4 years, working with another gentleman, we had over 2,400 graduates from the GED
Oh, that's
program.
great.
And the marking curve was higher than the city of Richmond.
That is tremendous. That's
Okay.
tremendous. See, and that's another resource now turned back into building up the community again.
Well, these
that's
guys-
another asset.
Let me just tell you why this. I was the director for the Victims' Rights Foundation for Richmond and Southern Virginia, and the last case that I took was terrible.
Oh.
Okay, and I met with the sheriff, and I said, Sheriff, you know, we're reacting. We need to be more proactive. They're not going to listen to me or you if we go out on the corner like that. They might listen to you because you're the sheriff, okay?
They might.
But who am I, okay? But if we can get these young men that are here to become our street mentors,
Advocates,
the guys
yeah.
will listen to them because they just got out of the joint. So there's somebody, you know?
Yeah,
But
they got street cred.
we got a group started in there to mentor the 18-year-olds, right? Sheriff Woody, it's allowed the group to expand.
Good.
Now it's the only group of ex-convicts that can go back into the jail and monitor and mentor the young people.
That is great.
All right.
That
And
is-
again,
that-
I went away
that's
from
going
the
to recapture.
finances.
Well, no, that's we were talking about wealth, not financial.
Okay.
Many people think wealth is just financial,
It's
and that's
not.
what I wanted to shift our minds, towards that direction. It's the resource. It's our people. It's ourselves. But on that financial note, and I'll end. We recently, of course, we experienced horrendous storms.
Yeah, damn it.
Then the fires out in California.
Tell me people didn't think it was time to start looking behind their ear.
Well, not only that, now all of a sudden people want to look at their insurance policies.
Yeah.
And I understand, but why not look at it beforehand? Look at it, read it, and if you don't, I know it's not great reading. Call those insurance reps. If you're in an apartment, get renters insurance. It's
exactly.
inexpensive, but when you need it, there's nothing like it. Insurance just is there to replace some physical things that you may have lost, and in some cases, medical expenses.
And that can be tremendous.
It's tremendous. And like, it won't make you rich, but it can help you keep you from being poor.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Again, wealth. What's
yeah,
the definition
the
of
wealth? You want to keep it, get back on your feet, and certainly we are saddened by those who lost more than just property. So many lives were lost. But please. Talk to your agents, talk to your financial professionals, call, ask questions. Don't just do the rate shopping thing.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you have the coverage you need. So when your stuff is burnt up, blown away, or God forbid, somebody breaks in and steal it, you can recover.
And I've been through that.
Oh, yes, you have. You had a fire yourself. Yes, you did.
Yes, I have.
Without insurance, another story.
Another story, but they took good care of us. I'll give USAA insurance
Oh, my
a
goodness,
plug.
shameless plug.
Give them a shameless plug because
Give 'em the
they
plug.
took real good care of us.
Right.
Now, I just want to say something. There's a lot of things that we're going to be talking about, especially now with the elections coming, and naturally everybody that views us is going to vote Democratic, but we're going to try to get some of the politicians in to talk. I was expecting to have the sheriff, one of the write-in candidates, Carol Adams, on tonight to talk about what her plans would be for sheriff. As evidently something came up, which happens. But by the same token, Avon was only going to be here for 10 minutes, and the show is just about over.
Is it? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
fast.
what I'm going to say, once again, 804-915-5202. If you want to ask a question, you have about 4 minutes to do it. Otherwise, save it for next week. Tell all your friends. Make sure they tune in next Wednesday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Comcast, Verizon, and now Facebook. Okay? And we're going to have more guys like this on. In fact, I'm going to probably invite Avon back again
Oh my
before
goodness.
the 6 weeks are
Reruns.
over. No, more information, because you're full of information. We didn't even get a chance to really get in there.
But I appreciate the calls that came in, and thank you for having me. And I'm glad to see, like I said, you're going to be hosting some political awareness. And though we weren't here to talk politics, we can't help but plead with the audience. Please vote. Please vote.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, in the last general election, 2 million people who turned out for President Obama did not vote.
For this, you know,
nationwide. So let that ring true. Please vote. I don't care. I don't care if you want to write in the monkey, but go out and vote.
Yeah.
And bust these precincts wide open and make people wonder, well, what is going on? 80% of them voted. Yeah, then you'll see some changes.
Absolutely. And those of you also who are 18 years old are allowed to vote. So get off of the computer for that one day and go to the voting place and put your vote in, because it's your future.
They're going to be there.
That you're looking at, all right? It's your future. Well, that's about it for tonight. As I said, we have a lot of things coming up. There's 6 weeks or 5 weeks now. I'm going to have some pretty interesting guests on, like Yvonne. And we want to talk about education. We want to talk about more finance. We want to talk about politics especially. And we want to talk about society, our society, and what we can do to kind of change this groove that's happening here in Richmond that is so dangerous and has so many things going on. People, I mean, we're going backwards.
My hats off to those who are working. There's many people working on our changes, and we're going to continue to pray them up and encourage them and encourage each other as a committee of one.
Absolutely. You guys want to put on my music there? Let the folks hear Bobby Boyd one more time.
Bobby Boyd.
Before we get out of here, okay?
Is he in the kin to Bobby Bird?
Nah, but he's a sax man. And hey, hon, how are you?
Okay.
I see my lady out there.
Yeah.
My partner, we're getting ready to do some really big things too.
No doubt.
Great show. Thank you. Popcorn Magazine. Got one cold. We're gonna get one before we go off. Okay. But Tropical Beat is coming back, and that's what I was telling you. The storm just threw us out of whack.
Oh, the storm threw so much out of it.
$240,000 deal with the Bahamas.
It's horrendous. Perhaps you'll do a show on that, on what individuals can do, and it's important that we show up as a community. I don't care if it's a community of 5, if they're 500, for those people who were in harm's way, that got lost everything.
Everything. But you know that the spirit of America, these folks lost everything. The thing is,
and it should come from the ground up.
And that's the deal. Thanks for watching. You guys that watch us on Facebook, make a note. Tell me what you thought. Send us notes. Remember,